Okay, so I'm going to do this handheld because it's tight quarters in here, but this is where normally you find all of my herb stash. So some of it I have here because I have these nice big jars, and then the rest of it is here at the bottom shelves. Herbs and flower material and plant material is sensitive to light, so I try to keep it as low down to keep it cool as possible and out of the sun. So some of them are here because right now it's quite full, and I'll talk more about why it's quite full a bit later on, but that's where you normally find everything. Okay, welcome. If you're new here, welcome back. If you're not, my name is Debbie, and this is Mini Soaps and Homestead YouTube channel. And if you're not new here, don't forget to like and share this video. If you're new here, subscribe and like and share. That would help a girl out a lot. So, why are we here in my kitchen? By my kitchen table. If you come here to pick up your products, you're going to recognize this whole setup. This is my kitchen, and we're here because you asked for a herbal tour, and that's what I'm going to give you. So not all of these materials are herbs, but they are all plant material, and they are all grown by me or foraged by me, with the occasional few things that I can't grow or forage for, like cinnamon and cloves, peppercorns, orange peel. I think that's it. Those things I can't obviously grow or forage for here in Nova Scotia. So right now we are in rural Nova Scotia. A lot of my plant material used to be grown right here on what we call Homestead 1, but are now grown on Homestead 2. Homestead 1 is a 70 by 70 piece of property, so we don't have a lot of space here, but we do own another property that is 26 acres. So obviously lots of space up there to grow things. And that's also where a lot of my foraging takes place. So let's get to it. I'm just gonna get going. So rather than start by showing you, let's start by talking about my practices and how I process all of this. So everything is washed and then dried. Some of it is dried naturally, some of it is dried in my dehydrator, but mostly naturally. So directly above where I'm standing is my storage room. So the best practice for drying herbs is to dry them in the dark. Light can really affect the properties of herbs, and not in a good way. So you don't want things exposed to a lot of light. You don't want them exposed to moisture. Obviously you want them to dry. So you want good airflow and darkness. And of course you don't want things to disturb them, like your pets, that type of thing. So they're hung to dry on racks directly above me in my storage room in the dark. Mostly until I turn the light on, of course. So that's a little bit about drying and storing. So depending on what I am drying, like if it's fruit material or berries, that has to be dried in my dehydrator, because if it is not dried in my dehydrator, we're looking at mold situations, and we don't want that. Certain things need to be dried very quickly. So yeah, and of course your dehydrator will have instructions on drying herbs or berries and those types of things that come with it. So I think that's it for that part. Oh, storage. I store my plant material mostly in jars. That gives me a really quick way to see what I have and to find it, to use it. Sometimes I have to use bags, and I only do that when it's going to be temporary. What else? So yeah, some of this is used in my products, like my salves, like my soaps, and like my rosehip oil, things like that. So some of these things are used in my products, and most of these things are used in my teas. So I got into making teas when I started to be overrun with plant material, and my hobby of collecting plant material grew to the point where I needed to figure out how to use them. So I learned about making herbal teas. I learned about making tisane. So tisane is a tea that is made from berries, fruits, herbs, or anything but a actual tea leaf. So that's where I got into making tea. So yeah, let's get into it. I don't really want to tell you guys the medicinal properties of these things. It's not my specialty, and you know, it's just not something that I want to share, and I don't think I will tell you exactly what I use each plant material for. I thought you might like to see everything that I have in store. So let's get into it. Some, like I say, are in these giant jars. All of my jars are upcycled, recycled jars. I don't like buying jars. I feel like there's enough of them out in our environment that we can upcycle and recycle them. One of my favorite things that I learned about upcycling and recycling is that if there is a smell in your jar, so like these have pickles in them normally, and they will have a smell of pickles for the, you know, no matter what you do, you can sterilize them, the smell just won't come out. If you put them out in direct sunlight, they will, the smell will go away. The sun sterilizes the rubber seals and that type of thing and takes the smell away. So I often do that when I have jars that have a smell to them. And sometimes they have a smell after I've had plant material in them that I don't want to cross-contaminate into something else. Yeah, I use the standard practices of sterilization, and I think that's about it. So let's get into what I have here, because this is probably going to be a long video. Okay, so this is my lavender. You can see it's lavender buds. I am fortunate to be able to grow quite a bit of lavender successfully, but I also have a good friend of mine who I know grows her lavender without sprays and chemicals being on it. So she gifted me lavender. So this is my giant jar of lavender, which I'm pretty happy with. It's so fun it's so fun collecting all of this stuff. So yes, lemon balm, another thing I am fortunate to be able to grow successfully. I also had some gifted to me this year from a person who I know does not spray harmful chemicals. So lemon balm, that's another thing that I use. My Tulsi, this is my Tulsi basil. So it is Tulsi basil, and I love Tulsi basil. I love the smell of it. I love the taste of it. I love it. So I have been very fortunate to grow quite a considerable amount. This is not my only jar. It is, I think I have 3 other jars with Tulsi in this year, and some that needs to be harvested. Red clover, Red clover is something that I forage for. I forage for red clover in places, of course, where there is minimal human intervention, where I know it's going to be safe to use. So red clover, I use that in some of my products and tea. It's very good in tea. This is my mugwort jar, and I still have more mugwort to harvest. It's something that I just recently got into harvesting. I was a little bit nervous about it before, but I used this in several products, and I think I'm going to offer some mugwort tea this year. And I grow it here on Homestead 1, but I also grow it on Homestead 2, and I have not planted it. If you are a spiritual person, then you might be familiar with the mugwort, and I feel very blessed to have mugwort growing naturally, something that I didn't plant. It is what I consider a huge gift to me. So that's my mugwort. Sage is something that I grow every year. Now I still have some of this drying because recently I chopped my plant down. I buy it every year, just your regular run-of-the-mill sage. So that's my sage. I use it in products. I haven't used plain sage. Of course I use it in cooking too. I love sage, but I haven't used it in any tea yet. Let's see what else. So orange balm. Orange balm is similar to lemon balm. It is a hybrid that I came across, and I really like the taste of it. So this is my orange balm, and that'll be used in tea. Dried ginger. So I will every year buy some organic ginger, and I dry it. I dry my ginger in the dehydrator because it requires to be dried quickly. So dried ginger. Cloves are another thing that I'm very careful where I buy them and whether or not they are organic, because they're something that can contain a lot of lead, and they can also contain some contaminants. So those are my cloves. Let's see. This is also this is some new jars that I found on the roadside, if you can believe it. Somebody was throwing these out. I took them home. I've brought them home. I've sterilized them. I find them a really good storage. They have like a seal. In these two are Labrador tea. So this is Labrador tea. If you've seen my recent posts, you'll know that we recently foraged this just adjacent to our property in a meadow. There is a huge field of it. Of course, when I'm harvesting things or foraging for things, I make sure that I am not taking more and destroying the habitat. We want to make sure that things continue to grow back. So blackberry leaves are another thing that I forage for. They grow wild here in Nova Scotia. So these are my blackberry leaves. Let's see. This is chaga for tea, and it is ground a little bit more coarse because I like to add it. I'd like to use it in tea bags. This year I'm going to be offering my tea loose, which makes it more important, even so, to have the chaga at a certain texture. These are my rose hips. I dry rose hips whole sometimes. This year I don't have any right now, but I will be drying rose hips cut open. So I'm going to cut them open and take the seeds out for tea because I will be offering tea loose, and I want to make sure that it is available for use, if that makes any sense. Calendula is something that I've grown since the very beginning of my journey, growing my own herbs for my products. Calendula grows very easily, and you can save the seeds very easily. It's used in my products. So arnica. Arnica is something that I just this year found a great deal of plants for sale at a local nursery and have been able to grow at a larger amount. So prior to this, I had one arnica plant, and now I have quite a few. So this is the arnica, and I use arnica in a lot of my products. Let's see, this is blueberry leaves. So some of these are for teas, and so when I blend my teas, they will go into the grinder and be ground, and then they'll be blended, and these jars will then, they'll be blended and packaged, and then these jars will be empty and put it away for next year. But in the meantime, I store my tea ingredients in these jars. So these are blueberry leaves. They'll be used in tea and possibly another product. Orange peel. So very important when you are saving orange peel, or when I'm saving orange peel. I should talk about how I do it. When I'm saving orange peel, I am very careful to buy organic oranges, and of course washing them and drying them carefully because you do not want any mold. This is echinacea. So I grow my echinacea here on the property. Of course, I dry it, and then it is stored in a jar and used in my products. This is pineapple sage. Pineapple sage, I love pineapple sage. I use it in a tea, but I also like it for some products because of the sort of exotic smell that it has. So pineapple sage. This is chaga that is extra fine. So when I use chaga in some products, I like to use it extra fine. So yeah, that's my extra fine chaga. I did invest in a grinder, an industrial type grinder. It's helped a lot, especially with grinding chaga. This is mint. I grow my own mint here. If you've ever come into my property here on Homestead 1, you will see the entire front yard is full of mint, and I'm quite happy with that. When the lawn gets mowed, it smells really great. The bees love it, and it is a good ground cover. So I grow my own mint. And this is, I grow several varieties of mint. This is ginger mint. Of course, I like to use this in teas. This is, whoops, sorry for the clanking. This is birch grit. So I roast birch twigs and I grind them in my grinder, and I use several different textures of it for several different things. Some of it is tea, some of it is for a exfoliant in my products. Birch is an amazing resource for a lot of good vitamins and that type of thing. It also makes a very nice tea. So what else? We have fir tips. These are harvested obviously in the spring when the new fresh tips are on the plants and dried quickly, because fir tips are very sensitive and you want to preserve that really good flavor, but you also want to preserve the vitamins and minerals that are in them. So those go in the dehydrator. Chamomile. This is some of my chamomile. I have way too much chamomile. So I'm going to be offering some chamomile tea, but I also use this in products as well. I grow a huge patch of chamomile on Homestead 2 now. I used to grow it here on Homestead 1. What else do we have here? Yarrow. I forage for yarrow. I just started growing it from a plant, but most generally I find it on the roadside or in places where it is safe to harvest. And this is my yarrow. And that's used in tea and it's used in products. Over here we have goldenrod. Now there are different ways to dry goldenrod for depending on what you want it for. I dried it as it was flowering, and as you can see, the flowers have gone to seed, but that's okay because I don't mind that. For what I want to use it for, I use it in products. I haven't used it in tea yet. These are marigolds. So marigolds used in products and some in teas, grown by me. White clover. So I forage for white clover in, of course, safe spaces where people don't interfere with it too much. And that is used in products and tea. Excuse me for the extreme close-up. Sorry about that. This is dandelion root. Now this stuff is hard to come by. We have to dig this out in the spring. We dig the roots, and it's a lot of work, and it's also a lot of work to clean, and it's a lot of work to process. And I use this in cottage coffee. I also use this in some products. What else? Plantain. Plantain is used in my famous plantain salve. This is the OG herb that I foraged for and used, and it is involved in my most popular product. That is my most successful product. So plantain salve, it's self-explanatory. It has plantain in it. Rose. I love collecting the wild rose petals. I use these some in tea, but they don't have a lot of flavor, but I do use them in products. Wild roses grow here readily. These are honeysuckle flowers. I use honeysuckle flowers in products, and I grow them myself. Let's see what else we got here. This is strawberry mint, another kind of mint that I grow right here on Homestead 1. We have, I don't know, that's mint also. This is usnea. Usnea is used in some products that I make, and I pick this up when it falls to the ground. You should not be pulling this off trees. You should be harvesting this when it falls to the ground. It takes a long time to grow, and it is a sign of a healthy forest and a healthy ecosystem. So we don't want to disturb the habitat of usnea. Now my backyard has a tree in it that is covered in usnea because the tree is dying. So when it falls to the ground, I pick it up. Let's see. We have turkey tail mushroom. These are more for me for personal use. I make a tea from these, and I haven't offered it so much to the public because I just haven't come across a big enough harvest of it yet. But hopefully this year we'll find a large harvest of it and be able to offer it to you guys. I'm gonna just set things over there. Let's see what else we have here. Green cardamom is used in my teas, and so I source this. It's organic. I source this online. I don't like the grocery store type stuff. I like the stuff I get online that I know is organic. This is jasmine. I have my own jasmine plant, and I harvest the jasmine flowers. One day I hope to make the traditional perfume with jasmine, but I want to make it with bear tallow. It's going to be a process, but basically you layer jasmine flowers in animal fat, and that absorbs the smell, and then you make a perfume from that. So jasmine, I grow that myself. You might have seen recently that I harvested some feral apples. So they're apples that grow in a pasture that were planted by a livestock animal. But these apples are what I use for my teas. So feral apples that go in tea, those are dried in my dehydrator to preserve their goodness. Black peppercorns are something that I also source online. I like to source organic black peppercorns. These can also have contaminants. They can have other things added in. You want to make sure that you have really good peppercorns. Those are used in products and tea. Apple mint. That's one of my original herbs that I grew here. It is growing in my front yard, grows like crazy. I use this in my shampoo bars because it is not necessarily a great tea drinking mint, but it's very good for using in products. It has a really strong camphorous aspect to it. This here is strawberry mint, another type of mint that I grow here. I make this into a tea with actual strawberries. It's very good. Let's see. Ooh, bee balm. This is my bee balm. I grow my own bee balm. I love it because it is a very spicy smelling herb. It's also really pretty. So I use it in teas. I use it in products, and I just love it. It's one of my favorites. It has that really nice spicy scent. What else do we have here? We're getting down to the end. We have star anise. So star anise goes in some of my products and my teas. And of course, I source this online. It's organic. I don't need to say it again, but it's important to make sure that those things are reputable so that you don't get contaminants. Thyme. This I grow myself. I have a very large patch of thyme, and it goes in my teas and it goes in my products. Recently, Thyme in Nature the soap has thyme in it, and it is really good. It's on the website if you're interested. What else do we have here? Okay, we're getting down to the end. Rosemary. This is some of my rosemary, but I thought it was easier to bring out the little jar, and I do have some more on the plant to harvest. I tried to grow it over the winter, but I can't keep it going. So what I do is buy several plants in the spring. I grow them, I harvest off of them and dry it. And then at the end of the season, I chop it all down and dry what's left. So rosemary, and of course, if you're familiar with my products, that goes in my rosemary mint shampoo bars. So every shampoo bar has rosemary and mint in it. For scalp health. So yeah, it's my rosemary. This is ground cloves. So ground cloves go in my Spicy Hippie soap, and I grind the cloves that I buy online because it's just easier. And so that goes in my Spicy Hippie soap. And cinnamon chips. Instead of adding ground cinnamon to my teas, I like adding cinnamon chips. And these are it's very important to be very careful where you get your cinnamon chips from, and what kind of cinnamon they are made from, because I can't really think of how to explain that to you now, but there's a form of cinnamon that can be toxic to drink as tea in large doses, and then there is another form of cinnamon that is fine to drink in a tea. So I have to source that online, and make very sure that it is consumable in tea, because I do use this in teas. So that's my cinnamon chips, and that is it. That is all. Oh, this year I grew boneset. So boneset grows wild here in Nova Scotia, and then I planted it because I want to be drinking this over the winter. It is very good for your bone health. So this is for me this year, but maybe next year I'll be able to offer it to all of you after I've tested it out. But yeah, boneset, very good for your bones, as the name suggests. And this is my stash that I will be drinking this winter. And I have some growing up on Homestead too. And so after I bought my plants, then of course walking on the road back to Homestead 2, I find none other than boneset growing. I do have mullein. I have mullein drying right now, and I will be offering mullein tea this year, but I also want to offer some form of mullein product. I have two more things that I need to forage for and harvest. One is cranberries. So we will be taking a trip to Rosignol Lake, and that is where we harvest our cranberries. They're wild cranberries. And then the other one is rose hips. I did mention rose hips. So I have to harvest the rose hips because I want them to be ripe, and then I'm going to split them open and take out the seeds and save those for tea. So yeah, two things left on my list. Cranberries, which go in my teas, and rose hips, which are gonna go in my tea. And that is my herbal tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have questions, please leave them in the comments, because I will try to answer them. And I'll try to leave a list of my favorite books in the comments as well. Yeah, I always recommend getting your information from a book. The library has amazing resources, and myself, I love to have those books on hand, so I purchased several of them. And so yeah, I always recommend finding your information from books rather than online, with a lot of misinformation happening these days. We need to be careful what we are believing and reading. So yeah, that's my herbal tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like and share, and please subscribe. And I will try to do some more videos coming up about my tea making forays. Getting these out gave me a good reason to clean my soap room. So if you arrive during this time, you're going to see a lot of chaos in the house. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this. Yeah. Have a great afternoon or evening or day or whatever time it is you're watching this. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you later. Now I have to go put all of this stuff back. So there's that. And my motivation is gone. So we'll see how it goes. I might need a cup of tea first. So yeah, see you later.